So this is Mrs. Armitage on Wheels by Quentin Blake. Quentin Blake is the author and the illustrator. I particularly like the character of Mrs. Armitage. She's a free spirit. She does her own thing. And Quentin Blake's pictures appear in many books. And here he is giving excellent flavour to the story with his pictures. So this is Mrs. Armitage on Wheels by Quentin Blake. Mrs. Armitage was out on her bicycle. Breakspear, the dog, ran alongside. A hedgehog walked across the road. Tring, tring, went Mrs. Armitage on the bell. What this bike needs, said Mrs. Armitage to herself, is a really loud horn. Mrs. Armitage bought 3 horns. They were all very loud. Beep beep, honk honk, bye-yow, went Mrs. Armitage on her horns. Then the chain came off. By the time Mrs. Armitage had got it on again, her hands were all black and greasy. What this bike needs, said Mrs. Armitage to herself, is somewhere to wash your hands. So she got a bucket of water and a towel and a soap rack with a bar of soap, and she hung them all onto the bike, and off she went with beautifully clean hands. What this bike needs, said Mrs. Armitage to herself as she cycled along, if it's to be looked after properly, is a complete toolkit. So she got a toolbox with spanners and screwdrivers and hammers and cans of penetrating oil, and she fixed it onto the back of the bicycle, and off she went. By now, Mrs. Armitage was beginning to think about food. What this bike needs, she said to herself, is somewhere to carry a light snack. So she got a tray for apples and bananas and cheese and tomato sandwiches, and a holder for a bottle of lemonade and a flask of cocoa, and a special basket for bones and dog biscuits for Breakspear. And she fixed them all onto the bike, and off they went. But by now poor Breakspear was feeling quite tired running along beside the bicycle. You could tell because his tongue was hanging out, and he was panting. What this bike needs, said Mrs. Armitage to herself, is something for a faithful dog to ride on. So she got some iron brackets and nuts and bolts and some cushions, and she made a seat for Breakspear, and off they went. They had stopped beside the road for some sandwiches and dog biscuits when it began to rain. Great heavens, said Mrs. Armitage. What this bike needs, Breakspear, is something to keep the rain off. So she got 2 umbrellas, one large, one small, and she fixed them onto the bicycle, and off they went. Riding through the rain, Mrs. Armitage began to feel rather downhearted. Oh, what this bike needs, said Mrs. Armitage to herself, is a bit of cheerful music. So she got a transistor radio cassette player and a lot of cassettes of cheerful music and a mouth organ. I've got a helicopter going overhead. So she got a transistor radio cassette player and a lot of cassettes of cheerful music and a mouth organ so she could join in and she fixed them all onto the bike, and off they went. Mrs. Armitage was turning the pedals so fast and was blowing the mouth organ so hard that she was soon nearly exhausted. "Oh, what this bike needs," said Mrs. Armitage to herself, "is a bit of extra oomph." And so she got some wood and some ropes and some tarpaulin. She rigged up a mast and a sail, and she added a few yards of bunting and an anchor into the bargain. And off they went with the wind behind them, faster and faster and faster, until crash, crunch, clang, clatter, thud, pa-yow! "Oh, what this bike needs, Breakspear," said Mrs. Armitage, as she picked herself up from the wreckage, "is taking to the dump. And what I need is roller skates need," said Mrs. Armitage to herself. "What these roller skates need is..."
So I thought you might like to have a look at my bicycle, because I like to ride a bike as well. But mine is not at all like Mrs. Armitage's. This is a road bike, and I can cycle for miles and miles on here. It's very streamlined and has lovely brakes and not much clutter. It does have a cage for my water bottle, and I bet you don't want to look in there, do you? Well, actually, that is a spare tyre. Well, a spare inner tube, actually. Spare inner tube. And then somewhere to carry a light snack. And some money. Always handy to have some money. And what a delight it is to ride a bicycle. And I'm sure lots of you will be riding your bicycles as well at the moment. Take care. You know what you need, don't you? Helmet. It's my helmet. Safe cycling, everyone.